Welcome back to Life Stories Network, the place where we share powerful and emotional real-life stories that will touch your heart and make you think about family, love, and the struggles we all face. Today, I want to tell you a story that shook me to my core, because it is not just about being a step-parent, it is about being put in an impossible position where love, respect, and pride collide. The headline says it all. Say sorry to my dad. My stepchildren gave me an ultimatum. I never thought in my life I'd have kids telling me what to do, especially when it came to apologizing to someone who treated me like I didn't belong. But here I was, standing in my kitchen one evening, with my stepkids sitting at the table, staring at me with looks that felt more like a jury handing out a sentence. "You need to apologize to our dad," they said. "Who's like dad?" And my heart froze. You see, I met their mother after her divorce. She had been through a storm, and I did my best to be her safe harbor. I wasn't trying to replace anyone. I just wanted to be supportive, to be there for her. And by extension, for her kids too. From the very beginning, I respected the fact that they had a father. I never once told them to call me dad, or pushed my way into that role. But apparently, even my very existence rubbed their father the wrong way. Their dad, let's call him Marquaz, always bitter. Every time he saw me at drop-offs or family events, his eyes would narrow, his jaw would clench, and sometimes he'd mutter under his breath. He didn't need to say much. The hostility in the air was enough to choke on. Still, I tried to keep things civil for the sake of the kids. I'd nod, keep my words short, and step back. I thought that would be enough. But apparently, it wasn't. The final straw came one weekend when Mark showed up for the kids, and I happened to be outside fixing the lawnmower. He walked up and said something nasty loud enough for the kids to hear. Something about how I was nothing but a replacement, a poor copy, a wannabe dad. I froze, because normally I bite my tongue, but that day, I couldn't. I looked right at him and said, "You don't have to respect me, but you will not disrespect me in front of these kids." My voice was calm, but sharp. His face turned red, and he stormed off with the kids. I didn't think much of it. Honestly, I felt I had finally stood up for myself after years of quietly swallowing insults. But the kids, they took it differently. Later that night, when they came home, they sat me down. Their faces were serious, almost angry, and that's when the words came out. "Say sorry to our dad, or we won't talk to you anymore." I laughed nervously at first, thinking maybe they were just upset and exaggerating, but the silence that followed told me they were dead serious. My chest tightened. I couldn't believe it. These kids, the same ones I drove to soccer practice, the same ones I stayed up late helping with homework, the same ones I defended when they felt their dad wasn't listening. They were now demanding I apologize to the man who had disrespected me for years. My throat went dry, and I honestly didn't know what to say. I tried to explain. "Listen, I didn't attack your dad. I just stood up for myself. I've been patient for years, but there's only so much someone can take." Their little eyes, filled with both loyalty and hurt, stared back at me. One of them said softly, "But he's our dad." "No, mater. What do you have to respect him?" That broke me because I realized they weren't asking as much as they were begging me to keep the peace in a war I didn't start. I sat awake all night replaying it in my head. What? E wrong? Should I just swallow my pride, take the blame, and apologize for something I didn't do, just so the kids wouldn't feel torn? Or would that just teach them that disrespect has no consequences? That it's okay for someone to treat others badly as long as they re-family? It was the hardest question I'd ever faced as a step-parent. The next morning, I sat them down. My heart was pounding, and I could see they were still waiting for an answer. I told them, "I love you both more than you realize. I didn't marry your mom just for her. I married all of you. But love doesn't mean letting someone disrespect me endlessly. I will never stop being kind. I will never stop trying, but I won't say sorry for standing up for myself." Their eyes welled up with tears. One of them stormed off. The other sat quietly, staring at the floor. Days turned into weeks, and the silence in the house was unbearable. They barely spoke to me, except in quick, cold replies. I kept showing up making breakfast, driving them to school, cheering them on at games even. If they wouldn't look at me, deep down, I hoped my actions would prove that love isn't about winning sides. It's about staying when things get hard. Eventually, their mom sat them down too. Told Tim, your stepdad has been nothing but respectful. He has never tried to replace your father, but he deserves respect too. Family doesn't mean picking sides, it means finding a way to live with love, even when it's messy. Slowly, their walls began to crack. One night, my stepson came into the living room while I was watching TV. He sat down quietly and said, "I don't like what you said to Dad, but I know you care about us. I see it." That single sentence felt like a lifeline. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was a start. The healing didn't happen overnight. There were still awkward silences and tense weekends. But as time went on, they started talking to me again. We laughed, we shared meals, and little by little, they stopped asking me to apologize. They realized that while their dad might always see me as an intruder, I wasn't going anywhere and I wasn't their enemy. Looking back, I learned something powerful. Being a step-parent means living in a constant balance of love and restraint. You're always walking a tightrope between not overstepping and not losing yourself. And sometimes, the greatest act of love isn't giving it standing firm while still showing up, day after day, with patience and care. That's why, when I hear the words, "Say sorry to my dad," I don't feel anger anymore. I feel compassion, because I know those words didn't come from hate. They came from loyalty, confusion, and love for their father. And as hard as it was, I wouldn't change how I handled it, because in the end, they saw me for who I am, not their dad's rival, but someone who truly loves them.